Hi, welcome, Simon here, and hope you're doing well. In this video, I'll be replacing the motherboard on a Lenovo Thinkpad. This is the 4th generation Yoga, and the model is 20SA-S03. Okay, and this is the replacement motherboard. And let's go ahead and get started. I'm using a Phillips screwdriver. It looks like the screw doesn't come off. It looks like all the screw, it doesn't come off in the back of the computer, so just keep that in mind. I'm using a metal prying tool to pry it open and remove the entire back cover. At this point here, let's identify a few of the things before we get right into it. That is the M.2 SSD drive, the battery, CPU fan, heatsink, the motherboard is underneath, speakers on the side. Here you can actually add additional M.2. The secondary slot is available to add additional stuff. However, I don't think the RAM is additional, where you can add additional onto it. There's no RAM slot available. It's just strictly built-in RAM in this motherboard. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like additional RAM can be added to it. Alright, so let's go ahead and disconnect the battery. To remove the battery, I simply just lift it straight up, because the connector, it just goes straight right onto the motherboard. Let's remove some of the screws here. If you're not sure where the screws, if you're not sure if you can remember where the screw is going to go back, what I suggest you to do is probably take a picture of the computer, like you snap a photo of it, print out a piece of paper. As you remove the screws, you put that screws on top of the paper as a reference, so that later on when you put the screws back, it is a lot easier to use that as a reference. Alright, the entire battery will just come right off. And if you're not sure where to find a battery replacement, look up for this model here, L18M4P72. That is the model of the battery. I'll try to link it down in the description below as well, so that if you need the replacement, you can go ahead and check out the link directly to either Amazon or eBay for the replacement part. Alright, flip open that little clipper, slide the cable down. That is for your keyboard. I believe this is for the keyboard lighting. Slide the connector down, and that is for your speaker. And this is the CMOS battery. Slide it down. That's for the trackpad. Flip open that little clipper. There's a metal clipper right here. Flip it open and slide the cable down. That would be for the USB port on the side. This is your LCD cable. Open up the little clipper and slide the cable away. This is your Wi-Fi antenna. I would just lift the connector straight up and then follow that little cable and then just untangle it. This is the black Wi-Fi cable connector. Just lift it straight up. Another clipper here. You need to flip the clipper open. So far I'm just using my fingernail to go underneath that little metal clipper. It's really you know, tiny. You just flip it up and then slide it open. It's probably for the microphone, I believe. Push it away. Oh, that's actually a speaker, not a microphone. Push the connector away, and that should be it. Last but not least is your CPU fan. Slide the connector away from you, so just push it that way to open it up. All right, now let's go ahead and get a Phillips screwdriver and start removing some of the screws to free up the motherboard. Okay, so the entire motherboard will just come right off. At this point, I like to transfer the heatsink over to the replacement motherboard. So go ahead and get the screw removed. And the whole heatsink and CPU fan is one piece together, and just come right off. What you want to do is to get an alcohol wipes, and let's go ahead and wipe down the thermal paste. Those thermal pastes are all dried up. I'll be applying with the new thermal paste on it. Let's go ahead and wipe it clean. I'll be using the MX4 thermal compound. So what I like to do is, the way I screw it in, I go rotate screw at 2 times, meaning that I will screw half a way in on the first screw, jump to the second, the third, the fourth, and I repeat the process again for the final tightening up. The reason is I don't work on one of the screw all the way, tighten it up. The reason is because if, let's just say that if I tighten up the first screw all the way in, it pushes that thermal paste all the way to the third screw, right? And then if I tighten this one up, it's going to push it down to the fourth screw. So that means you would have third and fourth a very thick thermal paste, whereas the first and the second would have a very thin layer set of thermal paste. So if you go around and around, you're putting that pressure on the heatsink on top of it evenly, so that, you know, just a theory. It's not really, you know, a must to do. It's just that I always has been doing it that way, so I'll be just repeating the same process. Just a theory guide on how to put the thermal paste, but it is all up to you guys. Okay, so let's slide the motherboard back in, making sure that it aligns the USB port to the right. At the same time, I just want to make sure all the cables, the Wi-Fi, and the rest of other stuff are sitting above the motherboard, because you do not want those cables to be underneath the motherboard. Okay, the motherboard should just fall flat, all aligned with the screws. I kind of forgot where the screw's gonna go. Oh no. So I know this two belongs to the here on the top right corner, bottom right corner. Okay, there's one screw here on the top. I think I got it. All right, let's go ahead and reconnect all the cables. First thing first, making sure that the clipper is facing up, open. Slide that cable down and close it in. Let's go ahead and tuck in that Wi-Fi cable. So tuck it in. Gonna go around it, go underneath that, go underneath that, go above it, come back down. And so the connector on the Wi-Fi is like circle. You make sure they go on top of each other correctly before you push it down. Yeah, so that is the main goal of that. Just going to tape this thing down. Slide the speaker back in. Okay. Going to transfer that M.2 drive. Let's reconnect the keyboard. Make sure the flex cable slide in. Close that little clipper. This is the CMOS battery. Align the cable, tuck it underneath. And slide that connector back up. Keyboard lighting. Touchpad, CPU fan, and and the USB cable. Slide it all the way in and close it down. I think that's pretty much it. Let's put the battery back together. I just fixed the screw. It's not supposed to be here. The one's supposed to be go all the way down to the motherboard so that the battery can go on top of this. So that was one of the mistakes I made. Okay, once you have all the screws in, what you want to do, you want to slide the connector back inwards and then push it in. So the way it works is that the connector, you have to slide it in, so kind of go 45-degree angle, drop it down, slide it in, and then push it back in. Okay, reconnect the motherboard, the battery back to the motherboard, slide that back cover all the way in. Okay, that should do it. So we just replaced the motherboard on a Lenovo Thinkpad. If you have any question, comment down below. If you're not sure where to buy the parts like the M.2 drive, maybe the motherboard or the battery, check the link down description below. I'll try to link it there directly to Amazon or eBay where you can find the replacement part, get the right one. And also, if you do find this video is helpful, all I'm asking is just click on the YouTube Super Thanks. YouTube Super Thanks allow you to share your gratitude, to show your support towards my work and my channel, and I really appreciate you for doing that. Before you go, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.